The previous basket is under review.
Welcome to Stats by Will and Jim, the college basketball podcast that focuses on the numbers. I am your host, Jim Root, joined as always by our stat guru, Will Warren. We are proudly under the Basket Under Review umbrella. Please check out the site and the Discord if you have not yet. We think it is the best college basketball community going. Only $10 a month gets you access to all kinds of terrific written content from some of the best writers on the sport, all of whom love college basketball. You also get access to the Discord, where there's constant chatter about transfer portal, who's good, who's bad, upcoming games, current games, anything you could possibly want to talk about with college hoops. The Discord is the place for you. But today we are talking a little pre-holiday cheer, some gift giving to teams. Will, how are you feeling? I know you have had a long morning already. We're recording this early on Tuesday, folks, as we typically do before the Wednesday release. Will, give the people an update on where you're at.
I'm doing well. I got done with a 14-mile run before we recorded this. I woke up at, I think, 5:15 this morning, and I guess it was windy overnight because I walked outside to go on the run, and like part of the siding on our house is hanging. So it's a great start to Festivus.
That's a little troublesome, yes.
Yeah, but it's like one of those you can pop it back in. It's pretty easy. But yeah, it was a fun way to start the day. But now it's kind of a strange week of the season where it's about the only time you can really look back and forward at the same time.
Yeah, there's a true dead period here. We don't even have the Diamond Head Classic out in the islands to give us a brief reprieve of basketball. It is a true nothing happening from December 24th. I believe there's one game between D1 teams on the 27th, but otherwise it's basically like 4 full days off of college basketball. So deep breath, exhale, everybody, before the storm of conference season when the calendar turns. We're going to hit you with a standard-ish episode today. We will have our little trivia. We will have our 7 back and forth ideas, but they're less number-based this time. We're going with the holiday theme of gifts we can give to people, to teams, etc. And I think we might have gone in different directions or some creative directions. So I think it'll be an interesting discussion. Hopefully people will find it enjoyable as they enter their holiday. Maybe you're traveling, maybe you're flying right now on Christmas Eve, and this is a perfect little respite for you. Before we get into it, Will, let's start with the stat of the day. And this is pretty simple. I didn't dig in too far here. We didn't go fancy. I just want to know if you can name the highest ranked player per Evan Mia in each Power 5 league. And we'll do a bonus if we want to in the WCC and the A10, but we'll go with the Power 5. We'll start with, I guess you can start wherever you want.
Okay, Power 5. I'm going to guess Cam Boozer for the ACC.
He's the leader by like a million miles. He's lapping the field. So yes, correct.
Yaks for the Big Ten.
Well done. Barely ahead of Braden Smith and Bruce Thornton. Shockingly, right up there. Yeah.
Let me pass on the Big Ten for now. Big East. Oh, is it Caravan?
Wow, 3 for 3. Ding, ding, ding. Folks, this is why he is the guru. He's just barely ahead of his teammates, Silas Demery and Terrace Reed. Yeah. And then also Dylan Mitchell and Zuby are lurking right there too. That one's probably the most like flat Democratic, no true mega All-American candidate.
Yeah. SEC, I would guess Thomas Houck, but I feel like that's probably wrong.
It is no Houck. He's down, I think, around 35th nationally. It is, I will hint that it is a guard.
Okay, is it LeBaron Philon?
He is the runner-up just narrowly to another guard.
Tahad Pettiford?
Not Tahad Pettiford. Will, come on. Look in your backyard, baby.
Oh, Jacoby Gillespie is number 1?
Yes, this is actually what inspired the question. Yeah, the
wow.
top-ranked SEC player right now is Jacoby Gillespie. I think that just tells you the difference of what happens with Tennessee when he's on the floor versus when he's not, because he provides something that really not many other players on that roster can. So shout out to Gillespie. Tyler Tanner also way up there because of Vanderbilt's dominance. All right, we got to circle back to Big 12. I'm not letting you off the hook.
Can you post that stat in the Tennessee channel in the Discord so they can stop whining every time Jacoby Gillespie misses a 3?
I would love to. That would be great.
Okay, perfect. Big 12.
I'll give you a hint. This may have changed on Monday night.
I don't know who played on Monday night.
By Monday, I mean last night for when we're recording. But
My very first guess would be Taman Lipsy.
Taman Lipsy is like top 6 or so. Iowa State very well represented up here.
Yes, Momchilovich is probably pretty high too. Or Joshua Jefferson, I mean. Jefferson would be higher.
Jefferson is number 2 in the Big 12, just barely a runner-up to one other guy.
It's not Dabansa, is it?
It is Dabansa, and that
okay, interesting.
The hint was meant because he had 33, 10, and 10 last night against Eastern Washington as we record this. So a monster triple-double. I think he was 11 for 13 from the field. I believe Jared Burson tweeted he had the first triple-double with 80% shooting, or first 30-point triple-double with 80% shooting this century. So a rather notable accomplishment from Dabansa, who's been on an absolute tear lately individually, and BYU has been rock solid too. But yeah, he just edges out Josh Jefferson of Iowa State.
Yeah. To quote Gary Parrish, Jared Burson invented stats, I would say.
Basically, it feels like it. And the man knows how to filter a category. I'll tell you that much.
Yes.
WCC, Graham Ike and Braden Huff. No surprising there.
Okay. I would have taken Huff first. That would have been my guess.
Okay.
A10. I don't know. A10. It's not Avila, is it?
It is Avila, yes.
Still?
Yeah, he's like a full point ahead of Castro. I think there's not like a ton of other kick down the door candidates. But yeah.
Yeah, but I would have guessed like Trey Green would be up there by now for St. Louis.
Trey Green or McCautry's been really, really good for them. But yeah, St. Louis sitting atop that. Mountain West, I bet you'll be able to get this one in at least 2 guesses.
Boy, I bet I won't. Mountain West, is it a Utah State player?
The top 3 are all Utah State players.
So is it Falslev or MJ Collins?
Yeah. Falslev's 1, and then Drake Allen and MJ Collins right behind him. I'm not even going to make you do the American because it's not fair. There's nobody
it's
like
not worth life.
Yeah.
We're good on the American this year.
But so, yeah, it all came back to I just wanted to pump up your Vols and say Jacoby Gillespie's awesome. And I may or may not have said Jacoby Gillespie first-team All-American in my preseason bold predictions, and I'm just grasping for data that would support that. So there's a piece of it. All right, before we get into our little back and forth of gift giving and holiday cheer, I want to give a shout out to what the gifts you all should be giving, and that's Home Field Apparel. It's the best place to get your college sports gear for the current season. Will is wearing a UC Irvine shirt right now with a surfing anteater, just shredding some gnar out on the waves. Gotta love to see that. Just the logos are unfathomably great. The ones they dig up over at Home Field, special retro ones, and it's on a bunch of amazingly comfortable gear. You got t-shirts, of course, but also sweatshirts, hoodies, jackets, hats, joggers, whatever you can think of, whatever that loved one in your life might want. Of course, we're getting up close to Christmas. Won't be able to get gear before then, but why not give something afterwards? Give them an IOU. That's what a gift you can do if you haven't quite gotten all your Christmas shopping done yet. And you can even get a discount on it. If you use promo code BURNER15, you'll get 15% off that purchase. So make sure to check that out. All of the great offerings that Home Field Apparel has. That's homefieldapparel.com. Wear one for the team. All right, Will, let's get into our back and forth. I'm going to let you lead off here. What are you looking at? What is the first gift you're going to hand out as we head into this holiday season?
A strange one for me here. It is for Providence. I wish them a little better luck in the final 8 minutes of basketball games. So I don't know, or I guess I'm going to gift wrap them better luck in the final 8 minutes of basketball games. The meaning of this is, so when they've played top 80 teams this year, they are, I think, in the first 32 minutes of these games, plus 1% from 3. Yeah, pretty normal, 34 to 33, something like that. Nothing too wild. Final 8 minutes of these games, Providence, 27% from 3. Opponents, 49% from deep.
That's brutal.
That's
My
brutal.
God.
That's about as bad of a unlucky run as you can get. So I would say that, and arguably, this has cost them 2 games. The Virginia Tech game and the Butler game both. You swing those 2 to wins, and right now they're kind of, I would say, I mean, like, somebody has to win games in the Big East, but they're now 0-2. they're kind of at a, win the conference tournament or you're out situation, I would say. The at large is just about dead. But if they were 9-4, 1-1, I think we'd be talking about them a little differently. I don't think we'd be amazed or highly impressed with them, but it wouldn't feel completely over the way it does right now. And so in the new year, if they can simply swing a couple of those 50-50 games back their way, it's not at all improbable that not only can they finish 500 or better in Big East play, which I think would at least give Kim English another year, plausibly. It would, open up the door for them to, if they can have this turn into good luck where they start shooting 45% and opponents go cold in the final minutes. It could be like the Ed Cooley teams that had this exact same thing happen down the stretch of these games. It's plausible. If they can just, get a couple, 2, 3, 4 of these games to swing their way, their season would feel a lot differently than it does right now.
Yeah, you can make this argument for the Seton Hall game too, because they were up 1 and Seton Hall hits a 3 to go up 2, like with basically a minute left. If that doesn't go in, maybe it's Providence ball up 1. They either get fouled or something and kind of extend the lead. But yeah, another major important 3 there for the Pirates to beat Providence at the AMP. They are now 161st in Bart Torvik's WAB measurement. So to Will's point, they are a long way from legitimate at-large consideration. Going to have to pick up a ton of wins in the Big East and maybe even the Big East tournament. This does sync with one of my gifts here, Will. So I will just kind of like pair it with it. And it's this general defensive 3-point percentage regression to Providence, but also to Villanova, to Dayton, to Maryland, and to Penn State. Those are the 5 lowest ranked, I would say, like nationally relevant teams. I won't say P5 because, of course, Dayton is in there. But all those teams are really getting smashed by opponent shooting. The most notable of those to me, though, Will, is Villanova because they're still good. It hasn't even mattered. Like they're still a top 30 KenPom team. They've got a couple of big wins. They start Big East play on the night we are recording. So Willstradamus, I know there's not many games, but you will be asked to stare into your crystal ball tonight. I think that's just a really impressive notch in Villanova's belt that they've been good on both ends, despite opponents being not, on fire from beyond the arc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a good team. I mean, they're considerably better than I thought they would be, to be sure. Very good to a turnover margin, very strong on the offensive boards, which I can't say I really anticipated given their roster. Duke Brennan, obviously, but I mean, like even Tyler Perkins is rebounding quite well, and Caden Lewis is rebounding well for a guard. I like the way they play. I don't think either of their losses are offensive whatsoever. Nobody's going to blink at you losing to BYU and Michigan away from home. Winning at functionally at Wisconsin is highly impressive. And, we'll see how the Seton Hall game goes. I already know because we're going to predict it later. But, in the event they win that game, 10-2, probably 11-2 if they beat DePaul on New Year's Eve. That's a really good 2025 heading into 2026 with regression incoming.
Considering like the exit from Maryland and Kevin Willard's, the drama of that, and honestly the way it felt in the portal that they missed some big pieces that they were hunting for. He wasn't able to bring any of that Maryland team with him. No Rodney Rice, no Gillespie. It felt like they didn't get any of the big game hunting done that they wanted to, and yet here they are, definitely on track for an at-large if they retain their same level of performance and winning games. You said no bad losses. The Wisconsin win plays. It's really the only one they've got on their ledger. Home versus Pitt's not going to do anything for them, but entering Big East completely clean gives them a real shot to go for that at large. Providence, another team that has suffered from this, and unfortunately, as Will clarified, suffered especially late, and that is a real problem in games.
Just like the worst possible timing, because so in these games, really quickly, they're actually +6 on 2-point percentage in the final minutes against good teams. So they're getting good shots. They're just getting tortured from 3.
Yeah, just everything is falling, and I'm sure that's the shoulders sagging and like, oh, man, what do we have to do? We have a good defensive possession, force a long bomb, and down it goes, unfortunately. All right, Will, what is your second gift that you are giving away?
This is a gift I feel that we've already given out, but I think it's worth restating heading into the holiday break. and it pains me to say this for very obvious reasons. We're going to give Florida some better 3-point shooting in the new year. We talked, I believe, last week about how they were at the time 26.8% from three. They're up to 28.2, so less bad. This is a team that's almost plus 14% from two against a top 30 non-conference slate. And while it is going to get tougher in SEC play, I mean, you're not going to be able to play a St. Francis or a North Florida. South Carolina might come close.
Ooh.
We'll see. They are going to benefit, and this has gone under discussed to me from a slightly less bad SEC slate in their favor. Like one of their double games is South Carolina. I believe they get. I'm trying to think of who they only get on the road. I think Vandy is only on the road.
Yep, but then I think Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama are all home only.
Yeah, they get Kentucky at home as well, Arkansas at home too. I mean, they've got a very favorable draw, as much as you can get a favorable draw in the SEC. I mean, remaining two-way utterly dominant on the boards, probably second best in rebounding behind Michigan, I would guess, in terms of two-way dominance. Same with 2-point dominance. They're still very good. I dry ran, I don't remember when this would have been or what game it would have centered around, but in the last week is the point. I dry ran in the Discord the thought of Florida winning the SEC regular season title, and it was met with a lot of scorn. So they are. I was surprised. A lot of people are, or were, I shall say, a lot of people were like Arkansas, and it's like, okay, we'll see about that. I think people that's kind of like the aura discussion. People really love aura right now. I'm 32 and I don't know what that means, so I'm good. But I think that we should just, perhaps default to the team that their losses are not to bad teams. TCU, I think we can agree, is probably good.
Yeah, they've been really good against good teams. If you take out the season opener, which I don't know, for some teams,
Looks
I think
like
that ends up being logical. Yeah, TCU's actually been quite solid. I'm on board. I think Florida is my pick to win the SEC, not just like a scenario I'm willing to entertain. I know they're not quite like the betting odds favorite. Hint, hint. I think it is worth a bet if you are a wagerer out there. But because of that schedule, because of the fact that they sit as a top 12 team in the country, despite not making any threes, that really tantalizes me. I think people fell in love with Arkansas because they had that performance where they smashed Louisville and then they survived and came back against Texas Tech, who has really no depth, and people got enamored with the ceiling of that team. But I am not impressed with the consistency of it. And man, just Florida's consistency. Yes, they haven't won a couple close games. To me, that makes them undervalued. The two-way rim dominance, two-way glass dominance, and potential shooting progression on offense. I'm on board with the Gators completely.
And to be fair to our members, I'm indirectly referencing the Arkansas takes were before they lost to Houston in a game that is not as close as the final score reads. But like a little less recency bias would be good, fellas.
Yes. Try to see the big picture if you can. But hey, that's the fun of the Discord. You get to view it however you want.
A lot of freakouts, which is good.
There are perspectives all over the map in that particular place.
There's perspectives for all of the eyes to see.
Yes, exactly. Okay, my second one, again, this is not the same thing, but I will tie it to yours. It is basically chill pills to the media, to whoever is, overreacting for takes on Florida, and honestly, for takes on St. John's, for takes on Kentucky, for takes on NC State. Everybody wants every game to be a referendum on the potential trajectory of a team. And I talked about that the Kentucky St. John's game was going to be the perfect encapsulation of this, where Kentucky was immediately back and St. John's was immediately buried based on the outcome of that game. And again, it's just like, I don't want prisoners of the moment here. St. John's is still clearly the second best team in the Big East by advanced analytical rankings. Maybe you don't think so because they weren't able to win 4 difficult games against Kentucky, Auburn, Iowa State, and Alabama. I'm not going to punish them for that, but they still took care of Baylor. They beat Mississippi. I believe in that team still has the second best team in the Big East. I know Seton Hall has looked great. Villanova's up there in the top 30 in KenPom, but I'm not really ready to bury them. And as good as Kentucky looked with Lowe back in there and Quaintance back in there, they still, have the risk of Lowe's shoulder. Quaintance is still working his way back up. I basically just want to, people to settle down, just because there's a lot of losses on the ledgers here for this team does not mean they can't get better. Does not mean they're not still going to wear home jerseys in the round of 64 in the NCAA tournament. Let's take a step back and not live in the moment, Will.
Like Norm Macdonald, I got a little bit of a twinkle in my eye as you said that. One of mine was gifting the media a bit of some settle down juice on some of these
teams. There we
go.
Perfect.
To quote one Bill Simmons. I'm trying to think of a nice way to word this, and I'm not very good at that. The whole thing all off season between, actually it is like the perfect game. They were 1-2 in the sucker bet article between St. John's and Kentucky, was that the loser was going to feel really, really bad, and they were going to get demolished in the media for losing functionally a coin flip game. And I know like Kentucky won by 12, but looking at pregame stuff, it was a coin flip game.
Yep.
Let's calm down. Let's just settle down a little bit. We're talking about, I'm just going through the last two games here for you. Last two games, St. John's and Indiana, 57 attempted jumpers, 12 winning.
Yikes.
57 attempted jumpers, 12 winning.
Indiana's a good shooting team. St. John's isn't actually that bad of a shooting team this year.
If you think that's going to last the whole year and Kentucky's opponents are going to shoot 20 whatever percent on jumpers, that's fine. I am not really going to join you on that, but that's fine. You can believe that. 6 for 29 on catch and shoots, by the way. Yeah, pretty abhorrent. The point being, the media, and I hate to say this because it sounds like your father after 4 beers. The media was like all in on Kentucky all off season, and all it has taken is what I'm going to say one win. I don't think the Indiana, that one seemed like a quote unquote season saver, like riled people back up. This was like the confirmation bias game that people are splooging everywhere, like Joe Tess after a 14-yard gain on second down. Clean the booth up, fellas. Jeez. It's ridiculous. Yeah. We got to calm down a little bit. It's fine if I'm it's good that they won. I'm not going to say it's bad. I think it's interesting. It makes it more interesting that they won. But against top 100 competition this year, Kentucky's rated out as the 61st best team in the nation. It's good that they won these last two games, but unquestionably, we still have a lot to figure out. Quaintance coming back did not fix things perfectly. He had a great game, obviously, and so Lowe had a very good second half. But we're acting like everything is magically fixed. From one player who's played one game. Don't let me remind everybody about how Big Z suddenly fixed Kentucky 2 years ago after one game, and a player who's constantly injured who had one very good half.
Yeah, that's the thing. Lowe left that game with injury. It is not like he is not prone to re-injuring the shoulder. Like, he could potentially still miss time. The team isn't fully fixed. I buy the defensive upside here with Quaintance and Diabate back in the front court. Like, that is for real. But yeah, it's just at first when they were playing poorly, it seemed like everybody had to rush to distance themselves from the offseason hype, as you mentioned. And now they have this one good game, which I will remind people they were down by double digits in the first half. They were losing the game with 16 minutes left. And they had one really good run in the second half, and St. John's went cold. And I don't think that fundamentally changes the outlook for either of these teams. It's just once somebody loses 3 or 4 games before Christmas, you just have to condemn the team. And I strongly rebuke that based on some past evidence, like Alabama 2 years ago and Arizona last year getting a 4 seed after starting slow against a tough non-conference schedule. We don't have to bury these teams.
I just remember in 24 with the Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd team, there's a Kentucky fan, and I don't want to name names, who is like, the defense is fixed after they won that Auburn game on the road. And because the 3 games, Gonzaga, Ole Miss, Auburn in that season, the opponents went 4 of 18, 5 of 22, and 4 of 22 from 3. The defense wasn't fixed. And you know what happened in the next game? They lost that on the road to Matt McMahon's LSU. So let's cool it a little bit. And let's also cool it on St. John's. There's a lot of dumping dirt on the grave here of one Richard Pitino. Oh, sorry, Rick. I guess there is a Richard Pitino, so you can't say that.
Yes.
Yeah, but because of woke. The Red Storm, I still think are fine. I understand, the point guard deal, it's still going to be clunky offensively, but for all their warts and flaws, this is still a top 40 rebounding team against a good schedule. They get to the line a lot. It's kind of like a worse version of last year's team, but the offense is actually a little better with the defense being a little worse. If they can ever clean up the defensive rebounding side of things, which I think is plausible, they're still going to be pretty good. And like you mentioned, clearly the number 2 analytically in the Big East, which means right as I'm speaking right now, they are underdogs in 3 more games. I think they'll lose more than 3 games, but if we get to the end of the season and they're 15-5 or something in the Big East, that's not going to be shocking to anyone.
No, that's entirely reasonable to me. And one other team I mentioned here, I feel like is getting a lot of burial right now. NC State, I know they took care of Mississippi, but yes, they had a frustrating performance at Maui. That I will not disagree with, but they've looked a lot better since they've come back. The game at Auburn, I thought they actually played really well. They had just poor 3-point shooting splits where Auburn made 55% of the threes. They lost by 1 in overtime to Kansas in the only game where Darren Peterson has played 30-plus minutes this year. So that's really unlucky to be the only team to see that. And Melvin Council made 9 threes. He has made 9 in the rest of the season. He made 9 in that game. The rest of the year, he's made 9. I just think NC State had a couple bad bounces, and Will Wade, ripping his team and calling them, too good of students and too soft. Like, oh, we've got a 3.0 GPA, we're soft. That has encouraged, I think, some strong takes in response. I still buy this team as a top 4-ish, top 5, I'll say, ACC team. And I think they're going to be just fine come postseason too. The VCU win's okay. Boise State wins aged well. Mississippi is going to be an okay win, and they've got chances in the ACC. I'm not shoveling any dirt on the Wolfpack.
No, if we had a quarter for every time we heard you and I from coaches something about our players are they come from 2 nights of homes or whatever, they're too good in the classroom.
Yeah. We wouldn't have many quarters.
I don't think we'd be doing this show.
Yeah.
We'd be very rich.
All right. Back to you, or did we kind of step on your third one there?
That was my third. So
okay.
let's move on from media complaints.
Yep, number 4 then.
Let's talk about the college football playoff. No, just kidding.
Oh, good. There we go. All right. Well, do you want me to go? You want to go?
Yeah, you do yours, then I'll bounce back to mine.
Okay, I actually was going to start with this one. I'm glad I didn't because it's just negative. I am gifting the fans of Wisconsin, Creighton, Ole Miss, Oregon, and Mississippi State permission to panic. You have a little, we just talked about not overreacting. I have watched enough of these teams, seen enough of their results to allow them a measure of, oh God, are we broken? What's wrong? Wisconsin has looked really bad in some of their big games. Not just they lost, they got pummeled by BYU, absolutely destroyed by Nebraska. I know they went to overtime with Villanova, but they trailed most of that game by double digits. Nolan Winter got banged up last night against Central Michigan. That's a concern. Yes, they've had a couple good home performances against Northwestern, who I kind of maintain might not be all that good. Took care of Marquette, who is not good at all. And they had the Providence game where they put up 100 points, but we've already discussed it. Providence has had some bad luck this year. I just don't know that I see it with this Wisconsin team right now. The defense is nowhere near where it needs to be. They've had some issues offensively. Blackwell's banged up. It's kind of just Boyd and Blackwell. The front court doesn't have any interior scoring. There's spacing, but there's not a lot of interior scoring. So I'm concerned with Wisconsin. Creighton's got the injury issues, and their analytical profile is basically living on one complete ludicrous outlier performance at Xavier, winning by 40. Like they had fallen to the 70s at Ken Pom, and now they're back in the top 50 almost entirely on the strength of that one game. And then Mississippi State, Oregon, Ole Miss, I think all understand why they're being put in this category, fans of those teams. The Chris Beard presser of we're going to bench guys after AJ Storr was like, oh, we can't figure out effort. Beard was not happy with that.
We're all out of ideas style quote.
Yes, exactly. And against NC State, they went with a drastically different rotation in the second half. Zach Day played 13 minutes. Was Zach Day in your preseason scouting report of Ole Miss? He was not in mine. So, yes, they're kind of grasping at straws there and don't have a lot of strong results. So any of these 5 teams, am I overreacting on, Will, or do you tend to agree?
No. So it's Wisconsin, Creighton, Oregon, Blink, and Ole Miss. Who is the Blink?
Mississippi State. So the Egg Bowl squads. Yeah.
Okay. In terms of full on panic, I think Mississippi State's clearly number one. They've got a lot of problems. I mean, I feel really bad for Josh Hubbard that he's going to. I guess I don't know if I feel. It depends on how much he's making. I feel bad for him regardless. But for Jaden Epps to be your number 2 is a real shame. I'm sorry. It's just a bummer.
I can't believe that choice was made. Yes.
Yeah, I can't believe it got to that. Quincy Ballard, a core. I don't know what's happening, fellas. It's just not your year. And I feel bad for him because he could, if he, like, there is a good path here, I guess. Like, maybe if you can get to where it's just like, Josh Hubbard, let's try and get you the scoring title, even if it means we go 12-19.
I like that.
There's worse outcomes in history. Like, maybe you can look forward to that. That's worth going to see. Ole Miss would be second most panic. I don't understand what they have or where they would turn to. I mean, like, I was impressed enough that they pulled it off last year because I thought that roster sucked, and I was clearly wrong.
Yep.
Cameron is good. Malik Dia is fine, and that's about it. I mean, like, the actual funny thing is AJ Storr's offensive stats are not bad. Like 112 offensive rating on 25% usage is like, that's good. Like, that's nothing to be ashamed of there. But he's as bad a defender as I remembered. Probably worse. Keza Jiffa, not a high major player.
Yeah.
Travis Perry, not a high major player. Corey Chest. You're ever going to think about Corey Chest again?
Corey Chest is a fun athlete. That is what I'm going to give him. He's bouncy.
Yeah, he can play basketball. I like, to me, it's a really bad sign if I go to your Ken Pom page and 15 players are listed.
Yeah.
Like, as having received, some amount of playing time. 12 having appeared in 7 or more games. And you're 7-5. That's a bad sign. That means you don't know what you have and you're not confident in any of it.
Yeah, it's throwing stuff at the wall process right now. You mentioned Storr's offensive stats. You get that really, I know it's a small sample, but 4 games against Tier A and B competition. He's 8 of 30 from the field, 74 O rating. Gets a lot worse when he's not picking on people who are his own size. So, yeah, I don't know what to do with them. Oregon obviously has had some injury issues, but when you build a roster like you do, like they did, where 3 of your best 4 players are big men and you have 1 guard who entered the season already injured, you could kind of see that maybe this was going to happen. And the lack of backcourt strength there has been a real problem for the Ducks.
I think the lowest panic meter I would have is Wisconsin of these 5. Okay. Surprisingly followed by Creighton, and I think this is 1, a coach thing, and 2, a competition thing. So the first one being a coach thing, I do just trust Greg Gard to generally get pretty good results out of basically any roster. It's very rare that I leave a Greg Gard season thinking he didn't get much out of that. I feel like he usually will get a lot out of it. He's a better coach than he gets credit for. And they have had a little bit of poor luck. I did look it up really quickly while you're talking. And the second half of games against top 80 teams, opponents have shot 40% from 3. And they've had a couple of close losses, like TCU, a little unfortunate, Villanova, a little unfortunate. You flip one of those, and we're talking about a 9-3 team. I don't think the panic would be as high. 8-4, yeah, you can feel it. But I do think like better days can lie ahead. If I guess depending on Blackwell's status, we'll see. I noticed he didn't play the CMU game.
Yeah, I think it's a minor-ish where they just wanted to make sure he's going to be okay for Big Ten play. It's like sitting a guy right before the under 16 timeout or the under 12 timeout. Let's sit him right before Christmas break to get him the extended time off. That's basically what they're doing.
Yeah, and Creighton, I do agree it's just the one win that's really holding them up. But as we have said about, I think 4 different Big East teams in this show, somebody has to win games. There's a team that's 2-0 and it could be Creighton.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not. But like somebody's got to win these games. I feel like St. John's is going to win some games. Villanova probably is, and then boy, somebody's got to. Seton Hall, Creighton, Butler, Providence, Xavier. Not Marquette.
Because we know DePaul and Marquette aren't going to win that many. So
bye. Yeah, I think like if we look up in I don't know however many months. This is a long year. 2 months, 2.5 months, whatever it is until conference tournament season, and we're like, oh, Creighton went 13-7 in the Big East. That wouldn't really be surprising.
Yeah, they've got that incredible home court advantage. They seem to shoot the lights out there, and a lot of their games are just can Creighton knock down shots. So perhaps they will be fine.
I don't feel like they're going to make the tournament, but like 19-12, 13-7 gets you in like, ooh, like they'll be in like the next 4 out.
Yeah,
they'll be in the next 4 out list.
Just lurking, never quite in it, but always.
It's kind of like how in these NFL they'll show like the playoff picture, and it's like the Miami Dolphins are in the hunt. It's like, well, the Miami Dolphins have like a 1.1% chance of making the playoffs.
The Miami Dolphins don't think they're in the hunt like that.
No, Tua's dead. Tua died weeks ago.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Tua.
Rest in peace, Tua. All right, so I have named 3. Will, can we go to your fourth gift?
I am gifting Yale. My Yale Bulldogs, Ivy Coastal Elite here in Knoxville. I'm gifting them rest over rust because I am unaware of any team in college basketball this year with a longer Christmas break than the Yale Bulldogs. 19 days off, Jim.
Yeah.
So, backstory here. My wife, teacher, she, for Christmas break this year, 17 days off. The Yale Bulldogs have a longer Christmas break than the average U.S. school system.
It's insane.
So
I wouldn't want to sit out that long if I was a player. That's so much practice.
I agree. That it is kind of nuts that there wasn't a game. So, for instance, they played, for reasons I can't really ascertain, back-to-back games a few weeks ago against non-D1s, SUNY, Maritime, and Brandeis, I don't know. They played the American singer Brandy in a game. And they won both, obviously, but I'm a little surprised you couldn't have pushed one of those to like December 18th instead of playing those back-to-back nights. Maybe those are like tomato can games or like you get kids in the door for field trips or whatever. But either way,
it wasn't just back-to-back too. They played 3 and 4 days because they played the Sunday right before. Like, what are they doing?
They
spread it out.
Vermont. Yeah, like spread your games out, boys. Keep those legs fresh.
Yeah.
They're extra fresh right now. They're more fresh than anything Subway's had in 20 years. Yale, I'm gifting them rest over rust for 2 reasons. One, they are 11-1, and that's not going to mean anything to you except for the fact that they're above water and wins above bubble right now. I think plus 0.7. For reference, the average 45th team in WAB usually, and 45th we use is roughly like the cutoff line. Usually is about plus 0.5. So right now, if like we don't do like if the field were seeded today things, but like if they held the rest of the way, they'd be north of the bubble. Now, if the committee would actually obey that, TBD. But they would have a tournament resume right now. But I bring this up because, 76th at Ken Palm. Their next game on December 29th, Monday, is Alabama, which is on the road. They're going to be, Torvik says 17, Ken Palm says 13. We're going to say about a 15-point underdog on the road. Now, I don't think they're going to win that game. But if they, let's just say, keep it close, if I'm envisioning like a Yale 9-point loss and everybody's like, wow, Yale was quite competitive in that loss. from there, I don't think you can go worse than. Would you say? I think like the worst you can do is 13-1 in the Ivy
To
and be
get an
north
at
of the bubble.
large. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably. It's hard to have 2 losses because it's not a good Ivy either.
no. And I bring all this up because we are in the era of the high major. High majors are more distant from the mid majors than they've been in some time. We kind of had this talk last year. You look at any list of the best mid majors this year, and as John Fendler pointed out, you're kind of relying on like, oh man, maybe McNeese can win a couple of games this year, or man, hopefully St. Louis doesn't get a 9 seed. That's kind of like where you're at right now, where you're really hoping for like of the true low majors or even lower mids, basically non-Mountain West teams. Your your pot is pretty thin to pick from. So I'm really rooting for Yale to get the Ivy a second bid, not because I'm like particularly fond of the Ivy League or like a huge fan of them, but because it would rip a bid away from a high major. And at this point in history, I do really want that. I try to not have too big of an opinion on it one way or the other, but like right now, if you go to Torvik's TourneyCast, there's exactly 2 non-Power 5 conferences that are projected to get more than 1 bid, and it's the Mountain West and WCC. I really would love for Yale to go 25-3 or 26-2 and make this an actual problem.
Yeah, it would be great, especially the Ivy has never really had 2 bids because they always had the regular season champ get the auto bid. The tournament is only a relatively recent institution. So it was really hard for like the second place team to get an at-large bid. You go back to 1998. Princeton was a 5 seed because they went 26-2, but there's no chance for them to lose in a conference tournament and thus give the league 2 bids. So I kind of want to just see it because it's been so hard for that to happen. It got close in 2011 where Harvard and Princeton were both really good, and one of them won the tiebreaker, or they play a playoff.
I think they had
game.
Was that the one where they had the 15th game?
Yeah, the playoff. That's right. It's maybe
they really should go back to that. To be honest, that was so cool.
It was electric. Yeah. But I haven't quite been able to have the 2 bid, and maybe with the tournament and with Yale being as good as they are, we've got a chance at it this year.
So, quick guess the last year an Ivy League champ was north of a 12 seed. So, like at-large bubble or better.
Is it that 98 team?
It is 2003 Penn.
Oh.
They were in 11.
Okay. Well, hey, maybe Yale can surmount that. Yeah, even if they. I guess they're going to be like top 60-ish if they can get there in Ken Palm. That still probably puts them in 11, 12 seed range, but would love to see it because that team is fun to watch too.
Yeah, they're very entertaining. Now, I don't think they're going to shoot 44% from 3 or 81% from the line forever, but by the same token, opponents are shooting 36% from 3 against them, so possibly do a little regression. And they play in the Ivy. I just don't feel like they're going to run into like a cavalcade of amazing offenses right now.
Yep. Okay, my next one. Well, this is as benevolent as I can be here. I'm gifting full health to USC's Elijah Arenas, Kentucky's Jalen Lowe and Jaden Quaintance, Louisville's Mikal Brown Jr., Kansas' Darren Peterson, Notre Dame's Marcus Burton, and everybody else. I am casting the spell of injuries off. I'm toggling them off for the rest of the season. Everybody that's hurt, at least not for a season-ending variety, you get to be fine for the rest of the season because I want to see these teams at full health. I mean, all those guys I mentioned, especially the freshmen, Peterson, Brown, Arenas, and even Quaintance, are like all-American caliber good. And I want them to have a chance to put those skills on full display, both just for them and for the strength of college basketball as a whole. All of them are highly entertaining to watch. The teams are obviously better when they're out there. I want to see it. I hope we get all those guys out in the court.
We're both NFL guys, big Bill Simmons heads. It took us until this year to really realize it, but like the 17-game NFL season is leading towards a playoffs where it's like literal survival of whoever's left. I mean, like there's going to be so many injured stars and injured players. And I'm fearful that we're heading towards that with this college basketball season where a lot of the best guys, whether on paper or in execution, are hurt. Like, I really want to see a full strength Peterson. Even Illinois, who's 9-3 and 10th at Torvik right now, has had a lot of injury troubles. Like, I don't know, and perhaps I'm wrong, and our numerous Illinois fans would correct me if I am wrong, as they should. I don't know that they've played at full strength yet, have they? I don't think they've all been fully available at once.
Barely. Like, Petrovic has been back, but never really who they want him to be. I think they're close now, but even like Ivasic, Big Tommy was banged up. It's not quite
like
what
Texas
they want
Tech. We're still waiting to. We got a good glimpse of them when they beat Duke, and I am a little surprised it took us 45 minutes to touch on, given how much we love Texas Tech. But they still haven't really been at full strength. They're like, NC State has had some issues. I know about. I know everybody experiences injuries at some point during the year. Like, Kentucky obviously is the big storyline this year, but we want to see, and it's always a shame, especially. I guess what I'm saying is it would be good if we can get these injuries out of the way now, and then for once have a conference play that's not littered with them. If we get through conference play and we don't have like a star hurt, that would be awesome.
Yep. I'm sure UConn fans are yelling because they had Terrace Reed and Braylon Mullins, and now Solo Ball is out. Like, I know everybody's going through these little ones, these kind of like in and out of the lineup, but I just want everybody out there. It's just better for the sport. It's more entertaining to watch. You got you mentioned the NFL, like the Christmas slate and how bad it is now because of
it's awful
injuries and teams like not being anywhere.
I might have to talk to my family.
Yeah, the absolute nightmare scenario in that regard. And we don't even have Diamond Head games to watch that day. So it's
I was doing the watch list and I was like, you know how the Premier League usually has like Boxing Day games? Because my understanding is Boxing Day is like a big deal in England. Like, it's a huge sporting day.
Oh, I went to a bar at 7 a.m. last year for Boxing Day.
There's one game and it's Man U and Newcastle. They're not even helping us.
Yeah.
I have to watch bowl games on the 26th.
Yeah, I guess.
I might as well watch dirt.
Oh, it's a disaster. It's a disaster.
It's disgusting.
All right. Well, that was it. That's a very positive vibes. We're flipping off, and by flipping off, I meant a toggle, but I will also middle finger them. Injuries go away. All right, number 5 for you, Will.
I am wishing, and I don't know if you read this article earlier this week, the University of Wyoming, I'm going to gift them, because if I've had to live through quote unquote Manchester City for 15 years, I am gifting the University of Wyoming their own billionaire benefactor to help them keep this run going and extend Sundance Wick's contract. I don't know if people have, logged on to Wyoming basketball yet this year, but they are really fun. Started out 178th at Torvik, up to 97th right now, without much in the way of like a obvious regression thing going on there. Like, their 3-point percentage defense might drop a little bit, but it's probably not going to matter much because they don't give up many threes to begin with. Incredible two-way rebounding team. Pretty good at forcing turnovers and avoiding them. Very good at generating good shots on offense. Almost beat Texas Tech, a team we just discussed. They did lose at home to Grand Canyon, which is a bummer. But, in our line earlier of like somebody's going to win these games, somebody's going to emerge as the third in the Mountain West. Because I think I would say it's probably Utah State and Boise as the top two right now. Maybe, okay, we'll say the fourth. So we'll say Utah State, Boise, San Diego State are the clear top three. Somebody's got to emerge as the fourth there. And why not Wyoming? Demarion Dennis has been awesome. Leland Walker is really cool. This freshman, Nasir Meyer, is really awesome for them. Does not seem to be getting much coverage at all. But I bring all this up because there was an article, I think by a State of Wyoming newspaper this week, about the team and how their entire NIL budget is $500,000 for the whole team.
That's less than one Gabe Cups. That's insane.
That's less than one Gabe Cups. That is, by my understanding, 1/8 of JT Toppin.
I believe that.
I think
correct.
That's the rumor.
Yeah.
1/3 in Elijah Freeman, 1/6 the Rodney Rice. The point is made, and they went into like how they built out this whole model, like estimating NIL by player and all that. It's very smart. I'll have to find it and we'll try and link it in the show description. I'll text it to Jim after. The immaculate Skins Hoops 86 on Twitter, of course, tipped me off to it. Okay. The greatest follow in college sports. I don't think he sleeps.
And he
Point
holds
being,
nothing back. Emotions
he holds
are
nothing back.
yeah.
God, I love him. They built out their roster using the Gini coefficient, which I like. I don't know. I was an English major, so I don't understand what that is beyond my quick read on it. But the version of it is based on the Thunder paying their best player 20%, second best 18%, so on and so forth. So the point is, the best player on this team makes like $100,000, and they're a top 100 team and rising. Could easily finish top 75. Wyoming is not short as a state of rich people and tax escapees. Let's get one of them to sponsor Wyoming basketball.
Yeah, give him a chance. Give Sonny Wicks a chance. Sundance Wicks is a highly entertaining press conference watch. If anybody has not gotten a chance to see it, and to your point, yeah, like Boise, San Diego State, Utah State, all in the top 53 of KenPom, but then New Mexico, Nevada, Grand Canyon, Colorado State, Wyoming, all still inside the top 100, and with chances to put themselves in position. I mean, maybe not quite for an at-large, but you never know, depending on the wins they pick up, and a lot of good home courts in this league because of the elevation. So I'm intrigued. Wyoming has stood out quite a bit as a team that has exceeded my expectations. So I got a hat tip to Mr. Wicks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my number 5 one is, I'm trying to decide which direction to go in here. I'll stay a little more positive here. I am gifting better PR teams to Josh Jefferson, but then also Bruce Thornton, Jeremy Fears, Flory Badunga, Malik Reneau, who is a top 30 player at Evan Mia right now, which is shocking to me. And Chad Baker-Mazara. I think everybody's just so sick of him, but the fact that he's been as good as he has for a team that's 11-1 is really impressive. But really, I just want to harp on Jefferson. He is number 2 in KenPom Player of the Year. He is doing everything for an undefeated top 3 KenPom team, and he's getting zero love for National Player of the Year. He's like 12th in betting odds. People can't stop fawning over Caleb Wilson. And of course, Devonta and Boozer are way up there, and deservedly so. Braden Smith is in the mix. I don't understand why Josh Jefferson is not mentioned among the top 3 to 5 candidates for National Player of the Year. He has been great in every aspect of basketball. He's awesome defensively, cleans the glass for them. He is a great passer, actually leads Iowa State, or almost leads them in assist rate. Lipsy narrowly edges him. But considering Lipsy is a point guard, it should tell you how impressive Jefferson is. And again, this team is undefeated with a blowout win at Purdue. They're the highest ranked team in KenPom in the Big 12. No, wait, Arizona just passed them. But they're right there. Like, why is he not anywhere in the realistic discussions for the Wooden Award?
I kind of, well, at first I was like, could this be a flyover state thing? Because, Iowa State,
Fair.
not like the first program an average normie would think of. But then again, like, I would say most people know who Braden Smith is, even if they're not college basketball super fans. I would definitely say, like, the average person knows who LeBaron Philon is. Like, JT Toppin is a huge name, and he plays for a team in Lubbock, Texas. Like, that's probably not the excuse. So my thing is that I don't know. Would you blame the TV contract? Is that outlandish?
Yeah, maybe it could be. I don't know.
Because the
They're on
Big 12 has
Plus.
an uncomfortable number of games end up on ESPN Plus.
Yes, exactly.
And a lot of boomers, and I'm not saying that as like a derogatory term, I'm just saying it as it is, don't know or don't want to go watch games on streaming. So, like, my grandfather, who lives in Michigan, he went to Ohio State, big Ohio State fan. We had to, on a visit 2 years ago, show him how to download Peacock to watch Ohio State play like Maryland on Peacock.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
And so, like, it's just not going to get through to the average person that you have to do this on a TV. Like, they're all used to cable because that's what they've grown up on. And I kind of wonder, this could be a stupid excuse, obviously, but like, there was times in previous years where, like, BYU would play, Kansas State, and both of them would be top 30 in KenPom on ESPN Plus. And I'm like, why is this game on ESPN Plus?
Yeah,
I thought ESPN had 15 channels by now.
I thought they did too.
I thought ESPN, can ESPNU stop showing like Ole Miss, the football documentaries of the 2025 season? Who cares?
Would be great. Would be
Throw that
really
shit in
great.
July.
Yeah. They need, like, the ACC extends games onto the CW now, Like we need this like random extra channel that they can.
The Big 12 needs My Network TV.
Yes, badly.
Yeah, what's that? Do you ever see the ads on local, like your NBC affiliate for like the Western channels that like nobody under 75 watches, but it's like 10.3 or something on an antenna?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Put the Big 12 games on those.
That works for me.
That's how you get age 70 and over to watch.
Obviously those other guys I mentioned, like Badunga Fears, like they've been unbelievable for really, really good teams. And Badunga, Kansas doesn't have Peterson, but the Jefferson thing just sticks in my craw because I feel like Ken Palm's telling you he's this good, but other places just aren't. You know who his number one player comparison is per Ken Palm is last year's Yaxel Lendeborg. So I think that tells you the impact he's making across the stat sheet, only he's doing it for Iowa State rather than an American team at UAB. So I'm giving you love, Josh Jefferson. That's a gift for you.
A couple other guys I'd like some greater recognition for nationally, beyond like super hoop heads. Like I'm sure Goodman would know about these guys, obviously, but like beyond the Goodmans of the world, like we want these guys to leak out to tournament viewers and such. Keaton Wagler, Illinois, deserves way more love. I would argue he may be Illinois' best player right now, which is crazy to say.
Yeah.
For a guy who's like 270th in the recruiting rankings. Really freaking good. Thornton, obviously, I do think Thornton is going to really be hamstrung by, his head coach and the team around him. It would be a real shame if a player that good never makes the NCAA tournament.
It would be a tragedy. Yeah. I mean, he can't fix the defense. There's not a lot he can do. Yeah.
And honestly, one other guy who I don't know that he's going to break through just because I don't think this team is very good, but should be in the NCAA tournament. More people should know the name Keyshawn Hall. He's been awesome for Auburn in a way that I simply did not anticipate.
Yeah, I think the fans of his three prior teams know him because
they don't love him.
Yeah, didn't play the final 4 games for basically any of his teams. He's got himself in the portal real quick, but he's been fantastic for them. Just as a one-on-one ISO hunter, fits really well into what they've been trying to do offensively. Yeah, I can't tear down what Keyshawn Hall's contributed this year, even though I question his commitment to winning. Yes. All right, Will, back to you for number 6.
I'm going to gift in the new year the Iowa Hawkeyes a signature win. So I think that Ben McCollum has done a very good job so far. They're plus 1.1 in WAB, however you want to say it. Up to 18th at Torvik, which is quite strong. But the problem is they don't have the win you can point to. It'd be like, this is the proof of concept. The best win right now is probably Ole Miss on a neutral. That or Grand Canyon, neither of which we think are going to make the tournament.
Yeah, we just panicked about Ole Miss. We can't talk that win up that much.
No, I mean, like the third best one is Xavier, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's slim pickings, to be sure. And this is not to say that their losses are to bad teams. Michigan State is tracking towards like a 2 seed, arguably, and Iowa State we just talked about as a potential 1. Both on the road, one of those narrow losses, the other one not. But in the new year, they are going to have plentiful opportunities to steal that first huge win for Ben and the team. So 3 straight games here, January 11th, 14th, and 17th. Home Illinois, road Purdue, road Indiana. I think you need to get at least one of those. Not just for proof of concept, but for resume purposes, because you are going to luck out a little bit by your first 2 games in the Big Ten slate being home UCLA and road Minnesota. Games at the barn are never easy, so if you lose that, I wouldn't be offended, but Iowa matches up pretty well with that style, I would argue. And road UCLA, as we've seen, especially making the Midwest trip, is always troublesome for one Mick Cronin. So I think your first real opportunity for a signature win is that Illinois game on the 11th. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I'm guessing a Sunday game where it's Illinois-Iowa's CBS. I guess that's going to depend on NFL stuff. It's on Fox.
Just look.
Okay, perfect. So like that's on terrestrial TV, like over the air or whatever. People will watch that. I think you really need that one. That or you pick off one of Purdue or Indiana. Because if you can get any of those 3, that's the one you can point to and say, that's the proof of concept for Iowa basketball this year. And that's the win we can point to going forward, because the road after that, the 6 games following, Rutgers, USC, Oregon, Washington, Northwestern, Maryland, might have one tournament team out of those 6.
Yep. And it will be not an easy road, because going on that Pacific Northwest road trip is not fun for any of those Big Ten teams. But
no.
Yeah, it's odd, because I think coming into the year, my perception of the Ben McCollum style was like, okay, it can kind of flatten out talent and make it competitive against teams that are a little better than them, because it's so slow and minimizes possessions, and they try to win shot volume and don't give you fast break opportunities. But this year it's been more, we can completely destroy lesser teams. They have been a massive Q4 bully, and other than the Iowa State game, not quite as strong playing up. I mean, the Michigan State game stands out. They got bullied on the glass. That is my concern in the Big Ten. Like, over the course of the season, can their physicality hold up? But the execution, the top end talent on the roster with Sturts is really, really good. And yes, getting one big win to just kind of, as you mentioned, proof of concept, and introduce them to more, casual fans, and give them that credibility that they can be as good as they seem they are. This ties in with one of mine, Will, which is rotational stability. I'm giving to St. John's. I'm weirdly giving it to Duke, who actually doesn't seem to know who their best 5 is right now. They've had some really up and down minutes numbers for Dame Sarr and Caden Boozer and Nick Kaminia. Iowa is one that I want to mention, because Brendan Hausen is like starting to play a little bit. Last 2 games, 19 minutes, 15 minutes. I think he's part of the best version of that team, so maybe they can figure that out. I also want to give this to Missouri, but it might not matter anymore. I don't know who is going to be. I mean, they need full health to figure out the rotation. But generally, I just, I want teams to continue to figure out what the best version of themselves is. And St. John's, Duke, Missouri, Iowa, those are ones that stand out, where you've got some large minutes fluctuations and some varying different starting lineup combinations. Just as the season goes, I think they're pretty much all well coached, except my Missouri Tigers. Figuring that out would be massively beneficial to those teams, and certainly some others I'm not mentioning as well.
Yeah, St. John's in particular, we had the preseason bet where I said they'd have 9 or more starting lineups, which, let me go take a quick look. We're on to 5, so we're halfway there, less than midway through the year.
All right, Bon
They
Jovi.
need to just...
We're halfway there. Okay. All right. Living on a prayer. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And this is without injuries, by the way, really. I guess, I don't know, I guess you could say Dylan Darling had a brief injury that kept him out of the Bama game, but...
Yeah.
But even his minutes are really telling. So last 5 games for him, 7, 23, 9, 25, 8.
Yep. It's you never know what you're going to play.
Weird. Yeah. You don't really know who's going to play, how much, or when. So there's still a chance that Lefteris, I don't want to try and pronounce his last name, but that he might start a game this year. Or, Ruben Prey could start again. Dylan Mitchell might make his way back to the starting lineup.
Let's go 2 bigs with Prey and Zuby. Yeah, all right, let's try whatever we can.
I would just like for them to settle into whatever they like, hone in on that, because they don't play the bench as much as I would have thought. It's 33% of minutes, which is about the national average. But it does feel like they can never really narrow down who they want when they want. It feels like they're kind of spamming crunch time lineups in a way that's not good for the team.
Yeah, I think Mr. Sannon is probably the next to not start a game after starting the last 8, and you try something else there. Maybe Seydou Koué being Io, because he tries really hard and plays defense. Patino sends the message with starting him. Yeah, it's just not fully solved there, and I guess the Big East can still be a little bit of a trial and error period, because there's some very winnable games on the schedule in that conference. But at some point, you'd want Patino to kind of lock that down and figure out how it best flows. And as they figure out, once again, that they don't have a true Big East caliber point guard, that has been a problem for figuring that out too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, your last point here, Will. What do you got for us?
This is the mean one, but I promise it has good to it.
Oh, mine's mean too. Good.
All right, I am gifting 5. Okay, let's just fuck it. Let's do all 6. I'm gifting our 6 remaining undefeated teams a loss in the next month. But particularly, I'm gifting Michigan, Arizona, and Iowa State a loss in the next month because none of them expect to lose a game, as far as I know. I guess road Kansas for Iowa State on January 13th is going to be troublesome, as could Baylor on the 7th. But I'm doing this because I think it would be good if we can talk a little more normally about these teams, because the way that our media ecosystem works is that if you haven't lost yet, you must be perfect. And yes, true to form, they have won 100% of their games. But all of these teams have flaws, whether they're obvious or lurking under the surface. Like, everybody has warts at some point in a college basketball season. Michigan, lest we forget, nearly lost a basic home game to Wake Forest. Really struggled with TCU on the road. That feels like it was forever ago, but it was just a month and a half back.
Trailed at halftime at Maryland, and Maryland is not good this year.
Yeah. I mean, Arizona nearly lost to UCLA, who we don't really think very highly of. Really struggled for a long part of that game, and if I recall correctly, trailed at the final media timeout, I think.
Yep, correct.
Yeah. Iowa State, obviously had a great win over Purdue, but struggled with Iowa for a long portion of that game. And don't forget, 1-1 on a neutral court over St. John's. Very easily could have lost their first game at Players Era.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be good for two things. One, a loss is a chance to reset, look in the mirror and say, we're not perfect, but now that we've lost a game, we can take stock of this and move on from there and work from it. It also serves as, kind of recentering your motivations. A loss can be good in the long run. It helps, gets you angry again, makes you, refires the fervor to win is what I'm getting at. Not that these teams really need the help, but it does, give them an extra 1 or 2% boost. But it also allows us to talk about these teams a little more normally than we are right now. And what I mean by that is once they lose, the conversation is going to go from these 3 teams are clear of everybody else to, oh, it's back to the pack again. That's not the case either. But the point is that these teams are not as clear of everybody nor as close to everybody as we're letting it. I want things to just be discussed about these 3 a bit more, a little more zen than we are right now about the 3.
To your point, I just got as we record this, a John Rothstein notification. Does Dusty May think a close game in the final minutes would help Michigan? That's kind of where we're at. Every game has been such a blowout that we don't know if a close game would help them. You go back to Duke last year, not really able to win close games. I know Michigan won a close game, we mentioned, with Wake Forest, but it can help to have a little bit of trial and error and practice in those tight spots and finding out who your go-to players are, what your go-to actions are when you really need a basket in a tense situation. I think the Big Ten will provide some of that for Michigan, but man, the schedule is so backloaded for them. They don't play Purdue or Illinois or Michigan State until the end of January. And Michigan State is January 30th. Purdue, Illinois, only once each. Those are in February. We might not really know exactly what they're going to look like. They've got a couple challenging games. They've got the Pacific Northwest trip, but to your point, it would probably take a surprise for all 3 of these teams to suffer a loss. And I would enjoy watching it, both for the reactionary narratives and the chill pills we fed the media earlier, but also I think it just would settle things down a bit.
Some settle down juice. And for Michigan in particular, there is I didn't really punch the numbers in before. I'm going to guess it's greater than 50%. They make it to the MSU game on the 30th, undefeated, 20-0. I think that would be bad for them in that particular game, because feeding Tom Izzo a chance, A, versus your main rival, B, at home, C, when they're number 1, D, and undefeated 20-0, is the worst spot I can imagine for the road team.
Yeah, good luck.
I can't imagine it. You can kind of picture it now, almost like MSU winning that game by 16. And it's just everybody's like, what in the world just happened?
Yeah.
If Michigan lost to Washington in 3 weeks, it would be shocking, but it would actually increase their odds in that MSU game to me, where they would all right, with the monkey's off our back, we got a loss. It's not we're not afraid of this.
Yeah, it's not quite as built up as does the road end here for the undefeated squad. Yes, I like that. All right, Will, my last one's a little negative. I apologize to the people, but maybe for their fan bases, they'll see this as positive because I am gifting resume workshops to Wes Miller and Earl Grant and Jeff Capel, Red Autry, Steve Peichel, Lamont Paris, Kim English, and one Ed Cooley, who just pelted a child in the stands with a water bottle at the end of a game. He once again has a team outside the top 100. This is year 3 for Ed Cooley, and it doesn't feel like it's a whole lot better than it was. I mean, it's better than year 1. I'll give it that, but it does not feel
Thought
like
experiment. Thought experiment.
Ooh, hit
How
me.
many games would you have to win as a head coach in a season for people to forget that you hit a toddler in the head with a water bottle?
At least 20, and I don't think they're going to win 20.
I would set the over under at 24.5.
Okay. All right. I like that. Yeah,
Okay,
it
onward with your
was
point.
bizarre that if anybody has not seen the clip, you have to watch it because it is just the most like toddler that he behaves like the toddler throwing a tantrum, whipping a water bottle into the crowd, and it hits a child.
It was like
Yeah,
Randy Johnson with that bird.
yeah, exactly. Well, thankfully, the toddler did not explode into a mess of feathers, but otherwise, yes. It's just like I can't believe how little progress there's been there. And obviously, I mentioned a bunch of other coaches that I think are going to be feeling the heat and probably should be, finding a new occupation come the offseason. But Cooley's the one that stands out to me most. I know it's only year 3, and maybe you want to give him more time, but the team just has lost all momentum that they had from that Clemson win earlier in the year. They needed overtime to beat St. Peter's. Yes, they won at Marquette, but everybody wins at Marquette. I'm just not really buying it with the Hoyas right now, and it's kind of an all-time lose-lose scenario. Him leaving Providence, neither team has come out of that smelling like any form of daisies, and it's wild because there were so loud declarations made of both sides at the time, but instead it's dark time. So Will, resume workshops, I'm giving them away.
I would be happy to help a coach in this because it's not like you don't have to go the Nate Oates route of like making your non-conference as hard as humanly possible. But there are worse options than doing that, like what Baylor has done. So excluding players era, which is its own thing. I think it's good to get involved with an MT like that. But even outside of that, their home games, the bye games, have not been against the worst Q4s. It's been UTRGV, who's 180th at KP, 185th Tarleton, 252nd Norfolk, 225th Southern, the latter two of which will probably be favored to win their leagues, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely Norfolk, Southern. Yeah, probably Southern too.
So like
Yep.
those are teams that one are happy to take the money and two are probably not going to challenge you that much. That to me is a lot better than being like, why don't we go get South Carolina State in the building? Why don't we go get VMI? Why don't we go get like a bunch of slop in the building? And this is also, not even mentioning Baylor scheduled a home and home, I believe, with Washington. It's not like we think Washington's an amazing Big Ten program, but that's a guaranteed Q2 at minimum for you.
Yep.
That's pretty good to me. I mean, like you could just do a lot worse than what they've done, or even say like SMU, who we've crapped on their schedules in the past, got Murray State, Butler, Arkansas State, Mississippi State, Vandy, even LSU all this year non-conference.
I don't like what you're doing. I think you're taking a veiled shot at my Missouri Tigers, and I don't appreciate it. And while it's correct, it's also hurtful. So, yes, hosting.
Well, if it helps, you are not the lowest ranked in a non-conference SOS. That would be West Virginia.
It's very close to it, but yeah, West Virginia. I saw some chatter in the Discord about Ross Hodge not being a good basketball coach, and I'd like to push really hard back.
Settle
against
down,
that.
juice.
Yeah.
We're pouring it.
Good gracious. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's it. We won't dwell and completely fire these coaches, but that is my last gift.
Speak
all right,
yourself.
Will. Okay, fair. We've got one little more segment to get here. There aren't major headliners on Tuesday night, but there's 3 games I need you to put on your divination cap on. Be Professor Trelawney and
divination.
Tell me. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm going Harry Potter.
All right, Reverend Will here.
Yeah. Villanova at Seton Hall, FAU at UCF, and I need you to tell me what's going on tonight with the Fighting Doug Gottlieb's now full-time basketball coach Doug Gottlieb and media darling Doug Gottlieb headed to Campbell. Will, any real strong reverberations in the world?
Many were crying. That it's just what a blessing that he has given up the radio show to coach basketball.
Doing it for these kids.
We never would have thought
it's for these kids. Yeah,
I know. Oh my God, he was crying in the locker room when somebody explained 6'7" to him. It's crazy. I've got Villanova by 4 on the road.
Ooh.
I think that they're due a little bit of good luck, and this kind of seems like a good luck reverting to the mean game. They also this isn't perfect way to look at things, but they do need the win more than Seton Hall does resume wise. Seton Hall actually has a pretty good at-large resume already built up. They don't need to do a ton of work right now. And Villanova needs this one more. So yeah, I don't know if that's a good way to look at it. Whatever.
I like it.
I will go at apparently the wide world of sports for some reason. I don't know why. UCF by 7 over FAU. I don't really fully trust this UCF team just yet. The 3-point percentage is quite high. I think it's over 40 right now. Doesn't really seem like a roster that's going to shoot 40% to me, but they're clearly pretty decent. I don't know about tournament quality, but they're going to be at least frisky in the Big 12, which I think is all you can really ask for from them. And sorry to now full-time HC Doug, I've got Campbell by 6 in this, I guess, 12 p.m. game on Flow Sports. Won't see a second of it. Best of luck to both teams. Not logging into Flow Sports.
No,
come on.
I boycott said platform.
There's less offensive things out there than Flow Sports.
Yep. I forget what.
If they were like, we're going to stream it on X.com, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, the WNBA does that sometimes. They have games streaming on Facebook Live, and I'm like, I'll watch that. Give me that.
Yeah, I haven't logged into Facebook in 2 years, but I'll do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, Flow Sports.
They've got it on Daily Motion. They've got a Green Bay at Campbell.
Yeah.
Zanga. They've got it on Zanga.
All right, you heard it here, folks. You heard it here first. That's what's going on. Actually, maybe the slogan for that should be "You heard it here second," since they already watched the game when they're listening to it. But that is what is going to be going down. That impressive Villanova win, starting off their Big East portion of the season. All right, folks, that is it. Will, anything else to leave the people with before I do our goodbyes?
One, happy holidays to everybody. Hope you are having a good one, whether it's with family or by yourself. I know this can be a tough time for a lot of people, so wish you a happy holiday season. 2, It's a Wonderful Life, Christmas Eve, 8 p.m. in DC. Don't miss it. 3, I do want to add a bonus prediction here I just thought of. Let's get an Ohio State 6-point or shorter halftime lead over Grambling. A game they're going to win by 20 plus, but that feels like I was looking through the slate for these pre-Christmas games and was like, that's a weird one to bring in. I don't know that I would bring in an aggressive, pressing, really annoying perimeter defense as my pre-Christmas game.
Yeah, when the players maybe half checked out, that could be one of those games that everybody just has to turn their eye to the box score until maybe like 10 minutes left. Do we need to turn this game on? Is this one we need to watch? Are we on upset alert? I like it. Okay. All right, that's it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As Will said, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Enjoy your time however you choose to spend it, whoever you choose to spend it with. We hope it is great for you. Thanks for spending an hour plus with us here on Stats by Will and Jim. Thank you to Corey Aldis, our producer behind the scenes, to Trilly Donovan, the overlord of Basket Under Review, Sam Freyer for our graphics, Home Field for our sponsorship. That's it, folks. We will see you on the other side of the holiday break. Until then, enjoy. Cheers.